Okay, good Shabbos Kodesh, Pashas Vaera, and it's also Rosh Chodesh Shvat. So we were discussing yesterday how can one reach Yedias Hashem, and why is it so important to reach Yedias Hashem, to know Hashem? Because that's the fifth cup of Geula, redemption, Ve'vesiaschem el ha'oretz, and that's what we need today so desperately, from all the tzaras to be redeemed, to have already the Geula. Whoever the Geula is going to come through will be happy, as I said, no matter who it is, even if it's Trump, Gewaldik. But we want Mashiach to come and get us out. And to get the fifth cup, which is called the fifth cup of Eliyahu Hanavi, we need to know that the Rebbeinu Shem is the one that's taking us out, and we have to develop that Yedias Hashem. So Yedias Hashem breaks down into two different paths. Yedias Hashem, to know someone, to have a relationship with someone, requires someone that listens and someone that speaks. In every relationship, you have the people that know how to speak a lot, and there are people that know how to listen. But you need a balance. If someone's just speaking, that's not a relationship. That's a one-way relationship, one-way street. So we're going to discuss the first part. How do we develop our tefillah, or what we call today davening? It's funny that in Likutei Chidushim from the Chidush Arim, which is my great-great-great-grandfather's wife's great-great-grandfather's Chidush Arim. So he writes the following. He says, davenin, it's not davening, which is a lot the way it's pronounced usually. Davenin comes from the word, is basically based on derech ha'avos. Davening is da avos. And the idea being that the avos taught us how to daven. What does that mean? They taught us how to daven. So he explains, because many times a person about to daven, he feels like he has no koyches. He can't do it. So you should know, in davening already, the koyach of davening is already there from the avos. They already gave us that strength. They already started us off. But I wanted to say a little bit of a different shot in the idea of davening. Davening, yes, it's from the avos, but it's like the Avod Ram. The Avod Ram was a Rishon. He wrote about 1,000 years ago a siddur, an explanation to the sources of all the parts of the siddur. And he explains in the Hagdama, in the preface to his entire book, he says that initially the avos, when they davened, they didn't have any standard text. They davened from the heart. They davened, they went into the fields, or they were at home. Like Sarah, Yemenu, Avram, and Yitzchak, and everyone, especially Moshe, in the Midrashim, they described them speaking to the Rebbeinu Shem night and day. Sarah, Yemenu, the entire night when she was by Paro's home, speaking to Paro's house, speaking to the Rebbeinu Shem. So the idea of davening is to make it real, to make it sincere. And davening itself, the standard davening, is almost really a continuation. So throughout the day, we have to try at least once or twice a day, just try to develop this sincerity. I'm going to give you an example of something that really, works for me. Years ago, I was in Chicago, and I was there for Pesach. Anyway, Pesach night came, and I went to daven. I was in the shul. I'm sitting there with one of my sons, and he was quite young. I don't remember, 5 years old, and we're sitting there, and davening I saw was not working for him. So we went outside to the side room where they have a Beis Midrash. In the Beis Midrash, I pulled out a beautiful sefer from Rabbi Daniel in English on the different makkos. We got to the first makkah, Dam. I'm explaining to him Dam, the amazing miracles. It's beautiful. We get to Tzfar Dea, and Rabbi Daniel is explaining Tzfar Dea means the morning, and Yediyah, it's a bird that knows. And I'm explaining this to him, and I see he's listening with such incredible concentration, until finally he turns to me and he says, Abba, I have a question. And I say, sure. And I'm waiting for this amazing question. And he turns to me and he says, Abba, if I steal the Afikoiman, can I get Buzz Lightyear underwear? And I remember I was, of course, a little bit shocked at the question, but then I understood. You don't always know that. You have to know where your kid is holding. But the lesson that I learned from that is that sincerity. It was so sincere that when some days I want to create an imagery for myself of turning to the Rebbeinu Shem and looking at him as my father, some night I turn to him and I say, Abba, if I do this and this and that, will you give me this and that? And that imagery is something that we have to develop more. Have an amazing Shabbos.